Okay, good afternoon. This is Brian Shannon speaking. Thanks for checking out my blog here at Alpha Trends. What I want to do this afternoon is go through some charts with you. First of all, we're going to look at the overall market here, looking at the NASDAQ 100 uh, trust, the QQQQ. Basically, the NASDAQ is what I trade most of the time. You will find some listed stocks on here occasionally. We might look at one or two today as well. But basically, the NASDAQ is doing a whole bunch of nothing. I've got the market really is actually in a slight downtrend. Realistically, if you look at it over the last month, it's making this series of lower highs and the lower lows in there. So there's not really a lot going on. I can't. It was difficult for me to find a lot of good stocks actually, but there are some bullish setups. First of all, Brush Engineered Materials, symbol BW. Here's a daily chart of it. Nice uptrend. If we back it up a little bit to see where it is just to get better perspective, you can see that this is a multi-year high breaking past those 2004 levels. And you can see it did it on very big volume, and the subsequent volume has been pretty low. So that's bullish as it consolidates on light volume. Looking at a monthly chart to go back even further, we can see that these levels haven't been seen since 2000, and it looks like there's probably still some potential maybe to test these highs up near $28-30 a share. So looking at a 10-minute chart to try and determine entry and stops, that sort of thing. I think worst case scenario, depending on your level of risk, you want to look at down here the intersection of the 5 and 10-day moving average at about 24.30 as your worst case stop. I would probably put it a little bit tighter underneath these intraday lows here yesterday near 24.60 or so. Let's take a look at a few more stocks. So that's Brush Wellman. CPST. I don't really like the stock yet. One thing I don't like is the 10-day moving average is below the 20-day moving average. But if for some reason it can get above the $4 level, I think that you want to at least set an alert there. The charts that I'm using here today are Realtick. You can check them out on the side of the blog there. I've got a button. It's www.realtick.com. They've got a nice feature where I can set alerts to let me know when it trades to that level. But there's a huge short position in there in this stock, and one of these days I think those shorts are going to be scrambling to cover. Haven't seen that happen yet, but it's worth keeping an eye on. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. This being the first video, I don't know how much time I have to do. CWPC. This is a Canadian tar sands company. It's actually bulletin board, so be careful with it. I own this in one of my accounts. Bought it today at 7.35. Wish I bought it in all my accounts, but maybe if that stock can pull back near 7.55 tomorrow, that's something you might want to consider as a purchase. EXFO. This is a thinly traded stock, so be careful with it. But here on the daily chart, nice constructive pattern. 10-minute time frame, maybe got to get above 790 or so before the buyers can really take back control of that stock. IVAN is a pretty speculative issue. It's been holding up great up here. Real big short position. Most of those shorts have been put on rather, about around the 275 level or so. And I think that they can, be in a lot of trouble if this stock really starts to get going. And it's been holding up really well, especially for an oil stock. You look at the weekly time frame, you can see that getting past these highs back from early 2005, this high here 335, we could really be onto something with this stock. So short term, I think that the buyers need to take control, probably above 298, maybe $3 a share, but it holds up real well for an oil stock. NEWP. Here's a stock that I think you probably saw a lot of people selling short in here because it was below the 50-day moving average. The 50-day moving average really never turned aggressively lower, though, and as the stock popped back up through there, we saw that all those shorts got trapped. Now, looking at a longer term time frame, we can see that the stock is still in a real nice uptrend. Found support first to that 50-day moving average, then the 100, and now it can potentially continue higher. I think you've got to see it get above probably these highs here, about $19.30, before I would get aggressive purchasing it. For tomorrow, there's not a lot that I aggressively like. Nectar and KTR. Take a look at last Friday's column that I wrote in here. There's a huge short position, and these guys are losing money. If the buyers can keep the pressure on, we could have the potential for a very big short squeeze in Nectar. I think right now maybe a pullback down towards that 2250 level again would be a great place to maybe go ahead and start getting involved in that if you're not already involved on the long side. Real Networks. I don't know what the heck I was thinking today. I love the way the stock looks, but I didn't buy any of it. I don't know why. Um, anyways, nice low volume consolidation or above this 20-day moving average. We've got the 10 above the 20, above the 50. Looking at a weekly time frame, we can see that this is a very significant breakout here over the last 3-4 years. And looking out even further on the monthly time frame, I'm going to have to change the scaling to get some a better look at this. But we can see that the stock might have the potential to make a quick run up towards 12 bucks a share. Here it is at 10 and a half. So the daily chart looks real nice, and on the 10-minute time frame, the buyers took control above that $10.30 level. It's not too far extended. I would say you could buy it right here, even with a stop, maybe 10.28, something like that. If you are in it, that's probably about where I would put the stock, maybe 10.27 or so. I like to keep my stops real tight. This is my blog, so I'm going to tell you my style. Feel free to change anything that you like, anything that you want to in terms of making these trades your own, and I would definitely suggest you doing that. SONE, I think they reported earnings over here. Stock's been holding up really well. It's got a great weekly chart. Look at it, look at how much room it's got on the upside. It's cleared above this, that high back from mid 2005. That's holding a support. Realistically, I think this stock could get up to 7.5 maybe. I don't know the fundamental story, but I would say the worst case scenario, stop goes, under this low right here, which is 556, which is also about the same level as the rising 5-day moving average. TTEC I had mentioned yesterday as a, there's a breakout play, multi-year breakout here. Looks like it's got a lot of room on this monthly chart. Looking at a 10-minute time frame, I had drawn the Fibonacci on there and shown that it had pulled back about 50%. That is a 50% retracement of this recent move. You can see now it's pulled back to that 2/3 level. So maybe you could purchase in here, stop just below these lows in here from today. I don't know what that level is. And in the interest of saving time, I'm going to let you guys check that out yourself. UTSI interests me. I don't know why. UTSI, if I could type right. It's a very speculative stock, it seems like. It's got this nice, real longer term, what looks like it's building a base in here now. I think if it gets above, these highs in here recently, maybe you see it run 75 cents or so. Buyers had a nice day in there today. If you're involved, stop, I would say, goes below 715. Let's take a look at a couple shorts real quick. ADCT, nice downtrend in here on the daily time frame. Short term, looks like maybe a stop around $22.20. BMHC, I did get involved in this one. I own some puts and some stock. Let's see what happens. By the way, for the one person that guessed, this was not the one that reminded me of Sun Micro. It looks a lot like Cisco right before Cisco's decline. Back in here. So if you want to, take a look at some history, go ahead and look at that. But the weekly chart looks like it's starting to break down. Maybe the beginning of something major. We'll see. I'd say stop, worst case scenario, about 35 bucks a share. Couple more. CNC is something that broke down hard in here and looks like it's kind of consolidating, getting ready for the next shoe to drop. I'd say breaking below today's low probably would be the catalyst to get that thing going. MNTA, we'll look at two more before I sign off. MNTA, nice established downtrend. Looks like it's going to give this whole thing back on the weekly time frame. Maybe a little too choppy in here, so I'd be careful with this one. It's very choppy on the intraday time frame. NFLD, Northfield Labs. Let's back this up, look at a daily chart. You can see it's been definitely having its troubles, and I'd say, maybe look for a test down near these lows near the $9 a share level. Catalyst would be probably below this low here of 10.25. Worst case scenario, I'd say your stop goes back up above 10.45 or so. Thanks for your time. Again, this is Brian Shannon. alphatrends.blogspot.com. All charts here used are courtesy of Realtek. I hope you found this useful. Feel free to use those comment buttons at the bottom of each posting. That's how I know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, what I can provide more of, what I can provide less of. Thanks for your time and have a great day tomorrow.